What's up, guys? It's JC here. I am going to be doing a review on the last two weekends Springboks All Blacks game. I will be doing one for Argentina and Australia later on. Look, this one's a quick review. I didn't have much time, as you could see. I waited 2 weeks. Okay, Springboks got 4 wins in a row against Kiwis, and look, not much complaining to them. I mean, it's 4 wins in a row against the All Blacks, and not lack of these 2 wins weren't due to the All Blacks performing poorly. I mean, both games they went in ahead at half time, and it was two hard games. I mean, you could see there was pressures. It was pressure, you know. If you look at the mistakes that were made, it was pressure forced. And the first game, character won us. The match, we were down 27-17 and conceded 4 tries. And in contrast to the game that just passed at Cape Town, we conceded no tries and we scored 2. So, 2 very different matches. I believe that the second match was more of a tactical affair, and the first match was more of a think on your feet type of theory. If you look at Rassie Rasmus's selections, in the first match at Ellis Park, he chose a young side. Not much caps. You had Sasha Farnberg and Gomezulu playing at 10. Fassi at fullback. Aurich came on in the second half, and we still won. And not just that, but it's experience in the back. The new guys that played their first test. No, I think it's a big jump in experience if you play against the Kiwis. When in the second test we went with experience, you could already see the difference over there. I do have some form of criticism though against the All Blacks. You can't play expansive rugby. You almost saw it was very costly in the first test. Okay, expansive rugby. You can't play fire with fire against the Kiwis, you know, because that's playing into their hands. We have to go with the recipe that has won us matches against the Kiwis since 2018, which is physical, dominant. You dominate them physically. Which is what eventually won us the match in the first test. As soon as we went for the physicality, we won. And the lineouts were normally our strengths. It's our weakness, and it's actually, I'll be honest, it's a shambles. Okay? If the lineouts carry on the way that they are now, I feel that we will be dipping severely. And come the next 2 years, we'll be the top teams at the top with us, Ireland, the All Blacks, France, the English. We'll actually start targeting our lineouts. And it was a strength for us. Scrums. Scrums are a major concern to me. Look, I'm not saying we were dominated by the All Blacks, but there were 1 or 2 scrums where they actually pushed us. And that is a concern. The All Blacks aren't lacking any depth in the front row. Their front row, if they can actually get the strong depth in the second row, the back row particularly, their scrums will flourish. Okay? Then we'll have a double threat. A team that can dominate up front and play expansive rugby. which can be a concept for the Springboks. Okay, do I think that we are far ahead of the All Blacks? No, I think that the gap between us and the Kiwis, we're about that much ahead of them. I mean, the aggregate for the last 2 weeks combined is only 10-point difference, 39-49. And that shows that we are slightly ahead. We're not pulling away. We're not dominating. I think the All Blacks will pound the Wallabies in the coming weeks. In the coming matches, I think the Wallabies will really suffer. And I mean, I think it will be worse than what they did against the Boks. In the Argentine, well, nothing can get worse than with the hiding that they got against the Argentines now. But it's not going to be pretty, okay? The Boks, should Rassie Erasmus... Look, Rassie Erasmus is going to do a split squad, I know that for a fact. I didn't see the squad that he selected, but it's going to have to do a split because you got one game coming up, which is in Argentina, and then it's back in South Africa. So they're going to have to make a couple of changes there, and it's not like that we can't. I mean, look at how much changes we made in the away series against the Wallabies and the home series against the Kiwis, and we won all 4 matches. So that can't be an excuse for us, but you can't send a B team, a so-called B team, and underestimate the Argentines. We saw what they can do. I mean, they beat the All Blacks and they beat Australia, and Argentina are still in the race for the rugby championship. So they're not going to make it easy for us, and it's never pretty. You can't really go in there saying we're going to put 60 past them. This Argentine side isn't the same team that are the bottom feeders on the rugby championship. I think that they actually pulled past the Wallabies despite the loss in the first round. I think that they overtook the Australians. I think many teams overtook Australia. Then, on the other side, we also have, I don't know how true this is, but apparently they're thinking of moving the Rugby Championship to every 2-year tournament for tours between South Africa and the All Blacks. I think that is bad for Australian rugby. That's not going to serve them well. I'll be honest with you. Australia needs confidence. Look, this tour idea, it excites me. South Africa playing Crusaders, All Blacks playing the Bulls. Despite the international matches, you're going to actually have provincial teams. It's going to be like Lions tour. It's going to be good, but it is also going to be bad for the Wallabies. You have to look at you have to grow the sport, not shrink it. And the sport is already shrinking by the day in Australia. I cannot see this Lions tour in Australia next year being a massive success, particularly on the form that the Wallabies are showing. And now you come with this bombshell that you might just make the Rugby Championship every 2-year tournament. It's going to be worse for the Wallabies. So that's going to kill the Australian rugby. And if you really want my opinion on that, yes, the tours can really do well, and I think it can actually improve the All Black rugby. Okay. Then there's a downside to that, you take him from the Australian team. What I'd say is have tours for the Aussies as well. Include them. Okay? You need to grow the sport in Australia. And so I read an article a couple of days ago where someone said that I can't remember who said it, but it basically went by the Australian teams should exit Super Rugby. Okay? Because it's not competitive. I mean, up until this year was dominated by the Crusaders, and then this year I think if I'm not mistaken, the Blues won it. Okay, when last did the Aussie team really win the rugby championship? Not the rugby championship, the Super Rugby Championship. I do not know. So how's that going to improve Australian rugby? How's that going to improve revenue in Australian rugby? Again, rugby is dying in Australia. Your next World Cup is hosted in Australia. How is that going to improve World Cup revenue? It's going to be a flop. Just as I predict this Lions tour is going to be a flop. No one's going to buy tickets. Ticket sales are going to be at a low. Okay? What I feel is if you really want the Australians to improve, Australia leave Super Rugby, yes. But go up north. Do what the Springboks have done. Go up north. Your rugby will improve. You'll suddenly have income. Money. Money will come in. And it may push for a club league. Like your best clubs in the world coming together in one league. Now, it doesn't have to be the URC. It doesn't have to be the Premiership. But whatever league, join that league. Okay? And then I want to say the same for the Argentines. Because Argentine rugby is doing well. If you want them to get even better, push them, give them a league. Rest is history. And I think the Argentines have done more than prove themselves and give them a Lions tour as well. I think maybe combine the Argentine Lions tour and the Aussie Lions tour. Put them into one tour. And do something for the Pacific nations as well. You want rugby to improve? Start with Australia. To me, it's sad. The state of Australian rugby right now is sad. I think it's... Why did Australian rugby dip? I think it's purely because there's too much of a competition there. You have AFL, and I mean, I watched a bit of Australian Football League, and it was sold out. And then I also watched the NRL, the NRL, the bottom of the table clash, the Spoon Bowl, as they call it, was sold out. Now, that for a team that has won 2 World Cups, okay, and played in the final of 91, where they won. They won the World Cup in 91. 99, they won. 2003 final. Played in the semi for 2011 World Cup. Eventually took the bronze. And they played in the final for 2015. Suddenly this team is, I think, ranked 9th in the world. That is sad. Australia being ranked lower than Italy is sad. It's not, I'm not saying the rankings are wrong, but there's a problem. That tells me that rugby isn't actually growing, rugby is shrinking, because in a country where rugby was big, it's falling away. So, will the tour, the greatest rivalry tour, be good for rugby? Maybe. But do something for the Wallabies in exchange, and do something for Argentina in exchange. That's why I see it. It's the same with the Super Rugby. Do something for the Australian teams. Because at the end of the day, they're suffering. That is all I have to say. Thank you very much. I will be doing a video on my opinion for Australia and Argentina a bit later. But see you guys. Cheers. Bye.